As a prominent Apple Home user, I always want my security cameras to work with Apple Home and HomeKit Secure Video, meaning I am paying for iCloud and the entire Apple One package. So having Apple Home cameras is a must-have for me, except for over the years, there hasn't been very many outdoor Apple Home cameras. But in the last 6 months, we have two new ones. We have the Eufy S3 Pro and the brand new, their Core G5 Pro. So we're going to compare these two, see which one is better, see the differences. So without further ado, let's jump into the video. First off, I do want to thank Eufy and Aqara for sending these out to me for a full honest review, but I do not allow any other types of sponsorships on any of my channels. Now, this video is not going to go over every single spec because the Aqara, wow, this thing is loaded with features, and just going over every single one is totally boring, which I won't do to you. Now, their Core G5 Pro comes in 8 different models, which is totally confusing to me. If you buy it on Amazon, obviously you can get it in black or white. And then you have only 8 gigs of internal memory. There's no micro SD card or anything, so you can't replace it or upgrade it. But if you buy it on like Best Buy or other places, Home Depot, you're going to get 32 gigs of internal memory. Don't worry about that. I don't think that's a huge deal. I'll tell you more about that, the internal memory, why it's not a big deal in a few moments. But the big deal is, do you want it to be power over Ethernet, which this is not the first Apple Home camera that has power over Ethernet. There was the Robin Doorbell, which is a camera. It wasn't great. It was like 720p when I reviewed it. They might bump it up now to 1080p. I think there was a new version that's extremely expensive for what it is, but it was PoE. Now, if you already have a power over Ethernet switch, and you can run cable to where you want this camera, by far get this Aqara G5 and PoE version. Obviously, you can get other power over Ethernet cameras that you can run through Homebridge and scripted to get into Apple Home. But if you want something that's native, this is the only one. It also has a Wi-Fi version. So if you have strong Wi-Fi outside and you have a place to run power, you will need a power wire instead of an Ethernet power over Ethernet wire, because this does not have a battery, unlike the Eufy. So if a battery operated camera is a must have, then the Eufy S3 Pro is a great option. Obviously, you still need the Wi-Fi signal out there. This will work with the Home Base 3 that's included in your kit, and you can extend the distance through your Wi-Fi. But understand, you still need great Wi-Fi outdoors for the Eufy S3 Pro. In addition, if you need a battery version, the Eufy S3 Pro is the one to get if you don't want to run any wires at all. And this thing has been amazing. Also has a solar panel on top, and also you can have an external solar panel. So if the one that's on top is not in the ideal location, you can run a separate solar panel to get ideal placement, which is awesome because you can actually move away from the house a little bit. We don't have power wires. As you can see here, I have this on a tree, and now this is looking at the house itself rather than looking out from the house. So I think placement and if you can run a cable or not is definitely going to be a huge factor in your decision on which one to get. Now, the Core G5 camera, no matter if you get the PoE or Wi-Fi, it's a 2K camera, 4 megapixel. And obviously, if you bring this into Apple Home, that's going to be downgraded to 1080p. And same thing with the Eufy S3 Pro, which is actually a 4K camera, that's going to also be downgraded to 1080p just because of Apple Home's requirement. Nevertheless, I think both these look pretty good during the day. However, at night, this is totally different. Both these have what they have different names for is a low light color night vision. If you do have some ambient light, either moonlight or some light from neighbors or your own light, then yes, it can see in color. But if you're living in the suburbs and it's dark, pitch dark, this is not going to work for you in either camera. It's definitely not a no light camera. It is a low light camera. And you can see the difference here between the two cameras. You had some moonlight out here plus some light from my neighbor. Both these have 1 1/8 sensor with a f1 aperture. And I think both of these did pretty bad. See some ghosting. It's still not very clear. And honestly, I prefer a infrared night vision where it's in black and white. And unfortunately, Aqara does not have that feature, where the Eufy, you can still run this in black and white infrared night vision, and I think it's a lot clearer. Obviously, at distance, you can't tell what's going on, but if much closer in, it's going to be a lot better than color night vision in low light situations, depending on how much light you actually have or not. I live in the suburbs. I don't have a lot of light, and I truly really like the infrared night vision better in my particular instance. And yes, both of these have spotlights, but as I've said before, a spotlight is not night vision. You can have it turned on when it sees motion and it'd be great. It looks great, but that is not night vision in my opinion. And if you're looking for 24/7 recording, which I absolutely love 24/7 recordings, I still love my Nest Doorbell because it has the ability of 24/7 recording. You can do that with the Eufy if you have constant power to it, not if it's running on the battery. Now, that's going to be backed up to the Homebase 3, and the Homebase 3 only comes with 16 gigs of internal memory. But the nice thing about the Homebase 3 is that you can upgrade it to 16 terabytes, which is just astronomical in my opinion. One day it's probably not going to be enough. But I digress. You can do the 24/7, what I'm calling natively within the app and the Homebase 3, where yes, the Aqara, you can do 24/7 recording, but it's not really it's not within the camera software or the app software. You're going to run it through RTSP on like a NAS or something else, and you have to still have the hardware, but you also have to have the software within your NAS to be able to do the RST player and then record it. And it's just a whole hassle. I really don't understand why Aqara did not do 24/7 to an SD card or their built-in storage, because you're selling two different versions, at one at 8 gigs and one at 32 gigs. What's the purpose of having extra storage like that if you're not going to be using it? Do you really want to store event clips on 32 gigs, which is going to be enough for years and years, way too much? No, you rather have 24/7 recording abilities. So I don't understand why they have two different gigabit versions. All their other core cameras, which are indoor rated cameras, have micro SD cards. I don't understand why they didn't do something like this with this outdoor rated camera, because yes, you can get micro SD cards that are rated and can deal with the elements as long as they are protected. So if you want 24/7 recording, Eufy is a better option. And yes, I do have one of my Eufy cameras that is 24/7 recording. Absolutely love it. Plus, I have a couple other Eufy cameras, like their floodlights, that are 24/7 recording, all backed up on my Homebase 3 with a 4 terabyte drive. And it's been great. Absolutely love it. But there's an additional cost to get that additional hard drive space. And talking about cost, both of these offer a cloud-based storage option that you do have to pay for. When it came to Eufy, I don't really see a need for it because I have the Homebase 3. But if you did want cloud storage, that is available. Same thing with the Aqara, but I kind of feel like Aqara is pushing it too hard and they're putting things behind a paywall. So not only are you getting the cloud storage, which they will record at 2K resolution, but if you don't pay for it, you're only going to get 360p to the internal memory. You can't even download it. You're going to have to screen record it because that's behind a paywall, which is just crazy to me, to reduce it down to 360 and then not allow you to download it either. But what's not behind a paywall, at least not yet, is some of their AI features like the facial recognition, which Eufy has facial recognition also. But Aqara also has vehicle recognition that's in beta, package detection that's in beta, human detection and lingering detection, both of which got a lot of false positive and false negatives. Same thing with the vehicles. Like when I parked my vehicle outside, I kept getting a notification over and over, even though the car never moved. Also, talking about notifications, if you want notifications more often, the cooldown period, if you wanted like unlimited or 30-second cooldown periods, it was behind a paywall. So I don't understand why Core is kind of putting all these things behind paywalls. However, I still think all these AI visual detections and sound detections are pretty cool. But guess what? Eufy has a lot of the same AI detections, also like human recognition, human detection, vehicle detection, pet detection, package detection, and even crying alerts. But honestly, neither one of these companies did very good, in my opinion. A lot of these are still in beta, and you got a lot of false notifications and false positives and false negatives. Hopefully, both these will get better over time, but really can't rely on either one of these for their AI features, to be honest. And then with the Eufy, you didn't even get notification with the AI feature. You only saw that when you went into the app, into the timeline, where Core actually sent the notification. It just wasn't always correct. Now, the Core G5 is also a Aqara hub, Matter hub. So you can bring in Aqara products, the Zigbee and Thread products. I think they're both limited to 20, which is kind of a low number. But what's really nice is that since these are outdoor cameras, you can now have a outdoor hub to really connect to these Aqara contact sensors and other accessories outdoors. Eufy has a lot of accessories also, but I think it doesn't connect to the camera. It connects to the home base, and that's indoors. So it's really nice to see Aqara making this into a hub, even though I think you're paying extra for it. And a lot of people don't need the hub options. So I know they're going to be coming out with just an outdoor camera in sometime probably in Q4. But this is really nice to have if you want to have Aqara accessories outside and have them be a lot more reliable. Now, you might be asking me, which one do I like better? Honestly, you can't go wrong with either one. I love both of these, but I think it really comes down to where you're going to be placing it and if you need 24/7 recording that's native, which I think is more reliable. And being able to view that footage via the Eufy native app is more beneficial than trying to have your own NAS and third-party software that's not really reliable or even tested to work with their core app when you're trying to have security cameras that are recording 24/7 that you rely on. So I'd rather have something that's reliable and programmed to work together like Eufy. Absolutely love the 24/7 recording, but then you lose your battery where you're going to have to hardwire it. So if you need a place where you need a battery operated camera because you don't want to run wires, Eufy is awesome. But if you have a place where you can run PoE, then definitely the PoE version is the right one to get. But if you're looking at the Wi-Fi version of the Core versus a plugged in way of using the Eufy, I would actually go for the Eufy simply because it has the black and white infrared night vision, which I think is much better than the color night vision. Unless you have your own dedicated light out there and you're not relying on neighbors or moonlight, because when it comes to security cameras, you want the best night vision possible because you don't know when something's going to happen. And you can see here in low light situations, it's not that great. So you're going to need a good amount of light. And I just don't think the low light cameras that I've seen out there on the market are ready for prime time. So I really like the infrared night vision still. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Let me know what you guys think of these two outdoor HomeKit camera, Apple Home camera. I'm still saying HomeKit. Let me know down in the description what you guys think of these. I'll be leaving affiliate links down in the description below. So if you do want to pick one of these up, use those links. Definitely helps out the channel. And I will see you guys on the next video. Thanks for watching.